Good morning, everybody. How's it going with you? I hope it's going well. I'm just looking to see if we got some video on the panel. We do. It's really good. It's really good. Technical difficulties. David and Greg. Oh yeah, we're having some problem with the audio send to and from Greg. So you might experience some live troubleshooting, which is just great. So I just started the screen. I'll start again. I started the stream because it's stream time, and that's what we do at this time. We stream. So here we are, and we got some good stuff coming up today. Some really good things. We're gonna let Greg kind of talk about what he thinks about slicers and the rundown that we did in last week. I got Greg now, so I will show him on the stream. And let's try this. Could you hear me, Greg? Greg, can you hear me? I might have to hold on. Okay, we're good. Okay, hold on. I have to do a thing. Hello? Greg. I got no audio from you either. Oh, it's so good. Can you hear the words? I'm just kidding. He can't hear me. Okay. Oh, you can hear me. Okay. That's the step. I'm not getting audio from Greggy Face. Weird. Let me just make sure I got my mixer settings right. Please watch live troubleshooting, everybody.
Test.
Okay, now?
Hear me now.
Yes.
That would be good if you could hear me.
I can hear you.
And I can hear you. Yay!
Hey, we use some sort of force. I got to remix stuff, I think, here. Can you talk?
I can talk. You seem loud to me. But
okay, you're coming back to the music source again. Hold on. I'm just going to pause the music. There, I paused the music.
Okay. All right. Well,
can folks hear Greg?
And I can hear myself.
That's going to be a thing, I think. Hold on, I might be able to fix that. So here's the thing, guys.
Just don't send the music back to me.
Well, the music should be off right now.
Okay. Don't send me back to me?
Well, that seems like an easy thing, but you shouldn't be. Something's glitchy over here. We know that. Let me try. Hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Do you hear yourself?
No.
Okay, perfect.
Hopefully people can hear me.
Oh, yeah. Everybody, feedback on Greg. Feedback.
Hello.
If I do feedback on Greg, I don't hear the feedback on Greg.
How about now? Do you hear feedback on me now?
Yeah, now?
Maybe it's working now. I think it might be fixed.
Let's watch the chat with anticipation.
And Helge used the force, so that's good.
Bucket sound. Greg is echoey.
Echoey. Okay.
Okay.
David is loud for me, but I don't know if that's just because I have my volume up or.
Let's work on. I gotta listen to the YouTube for a second here. So you gotta talk.
I will talk.
So
okay. I will talk. Hello to Helge. Hello to Dominic, and hello to Raymond. Okay. Everyone in the chat.
I see what's going on. Well, I hear what's going on.
Okay. Bit like reverb, you say.
Reverb. I am going to. Let's see here.
We'll try to unverb the reverb.
Yeah. I'm gonna restart the audio processing. So, Greg, give them an interpretive dance.
Okay.
Okay. I'll restart the audio engine here.
That's my interpretation of an interpretive dance.
Keep going.
Keep going with the dance or keep going with the talking?
Either or. Okay, so let me see.
David's fine. I can actually hear him.
Is Greg still echoey, boyos?
I don't know. Am I still echoey, boys? Echo, echo, echo. Echo. Hopefully not. Hopefully everything sounds fine. Hopefully not. And hopefully it's tolerable. Oh
yeah, no, he says yes. Okay, I'm gonna start. I'll remove inputs. Hold on.
You said yes.
Sounds like Greg is using a room mic. Do
you
by chance have two mics unmuted? Because that's what it sounds like.
I don't think so, because I can only choose one mic.
Because that's what it sounds like. There's two mics. One's got latency. I hear him just fine.
Do you hear that?
Yeah.
I don't know how I have two mics.
Okay,
let me try this. How's that?
How's that, everybody?
Anything better? I turned off my Rode software. See if that helps.
I'll listen to the YouTube.
Okay. Test. Hopefully that helps. Test. Hopefully that helps.
No. It's still the same.
Okay.
Why can't things just be easy, guys? Even worse. He made it worse.
How could I make it worse?
Let's see here.
Headphones is there. I'm gonna just look at my other sound settings.
Does that make him better?
I don't know. Does that make me better? I'll put where's my input? Oh, there is a mic. Just hold on, let me try something here.
Okay.
How's this? Is this any better?
Wait, how am I sending? It's not that.
Is that better? Because I did. It was on my other mic up here, I think, but it shouldn't have been sending it. Oh, that's it.
That's what they say.
Okay.
All right, good stream, guys. We will see you next week. Thanks for
coming with the troubleshooting.
Yeah. Troubleshooting with Dave and Greg. Yeah, that's something else right there. Well, thanks for now back.
No, we don't want that.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna do a thing on my end here. Let me.
That's all I could find on this end.
If I could turn back time,
starting at 11.
It was okay for like 10 seconds. Okay. Let's see here.
I've got my Rode set as my default microphone in Windows, just in case that was doing something, and it's also my default speakers, so that should be fine.
So here's what happened, guys. There's two softwares we use, and they both updated. So it's like I don't know which one is broken or not. Let's fire this on. Greg, you talk?
I'm talking. Hello. Thanks for bearing with us, everyone, through this.
Are you guys gonna record one with a bot? Okay. If you can hear me and you can hear him, I'm not going to touch anything else right now.
We'll leave that.
We're going to have. There won't be.
And we just want to thank a certain amount of people, like Held in the comments.
Yeah. Everybody.
And Ray and Dominic.
Thank you.
For helping.
Yay.
who coincidentally are our Patreons.
Yeah. Stacy, I'm getting feedback from Stacy too. So
Okay. Good. And hi, Stacy.
5x5 it says.
All right. Excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
I have
All
no
right.
idea, guys. I'm gonna have to rebuild. These scenes are getting pretty complicated. I'm not gonna lie. Cool. Yeah. So anyway, welcome to the show. Um, so last week I talked about like some slicers. Kind
Yeah.
of like gave my like roundup, I guess you would call it,
Your 2 bits.
on the slicers and kind of like what I settled on. So I thought it would be interesting. Um, it would be interesting to see what Greg would have to say about it. So
So,
what good
so
same
I
thing
did.
from
I
Greg?
did watch the stream. I had to watch it after the fact because I was driving, and so I couldn't watch it while driving because that's dangerous. Uh, but yeah. So I I just recently installed a new computer, and so I had to kind of put on slicers. And I only put on the slicers that I'm currently using, which is a bamboo slicer because I print like crazy on my bamboo because it's so quick and wonderful and can print ABS and everything else. So I print quite a bit on it. But I also have Orca slicer installed. So you talked about both of those, and they're very similar. They're almost identical, almost. Um, so I gotta say that I like both of them the same because they're almost the same. I do have a share up, but I don't know if it matters.
I'm
Uh,
going to it right now.
it doesn't matter. I just have them side by side, and you showed it off last time, so
Yep, but visuals.
you can see they're pretty much the same.
Yeah.
They've got all the same stuff. Now, if you go to the new Creality slicer, which I don't have installed, it's similar, except all the things with quality, strength, speed, and materials and all that is down the side. And it's on the opposite side of where it is. It's more like what Kira was. Um, and I haven't used Kira in ages. I know there's a new beta out or alpha out for 5.10. But I'm honestly like I will maybe reload Prusa at some point, but I haven't had a need for it because honestly, between uh, Orca and Bamboo, it covers all my printers and it works really, really well. And I've converted all my printers to Clipper. And so now that they're all Clipper, Prusa doesn't, really have an official Clipper setting, even though, the Marlin setting does work fine. So I don't know. I would still, lean towards if you are in the boat that you are uncomfortable with what Bamboo's doing, use Orca. But if you have a Bamboo, use Bamboo.
I mean that's succinct.
I think if you have a Corelity, K1C and whatnot, using the Corelity slicer makes sense because it's integrated with their ecosystem. But if you really don't like using the manufacturer slicer, Orca is the way to go, is in my opinion. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Does that kind of summarize? I don't want to rehash everything that happened because you did a lot of deep dive slicings and stuff.
Deep dive.
Last week. So
I mean, it was a thing. There was things talked about. Yeah, like
Held says Orca has been a better seems being a better. Crowley Slicer from Ray says Crowley Slicer works good with their printers, and that's totally true. And I mean, I still have my CR10 back here, and I have my ender over there, and you're right. The Corelli slicer works fine with them. Like it works. I mean, they're very, very optimized for them, and which makes sense. Like it's their slicer. But Orca, if you really lean into open source, then Orca is the way to go. You know, I think you can't really you can't really go too wrong with any of them. The biggest difference, and you pointed this out last week, David, was not all of the profiles are built in by default for every printer in every slicer. Sometimes you go to this slicer and it'll have the profile for my Chiron, and then if you go to this one, it'll have a profile for something else. And Prusa was getting better. It had a lot of the profiles, but it doesn't have profiles for everything yet. But if you own a Prusa is definitely a rock solid the slicer to go with, because it's highly optimized for their products, whether it's the new Core 1 there that they have or whatever. It's totally optimized for the manufacturer's product.
Yeah, and Dominic was, I think, mentioning the Core 1 earlier, if I remember. Yeah. You guys got to build a Core 1 and build it? If they send us one, I'll do it for sure. I don't have the liquidity to do that right now.
I have no free funds to purchase said printer. I have repaired a few Prusas and done test prints on them, and they print fine. And I love the way they calibrate themselves is pretty solid and whatnot. But I don't have the funds to do that. So.
Yeah, so Raymond brings up a good point, and I've actually figured out why this is too. But he says, like, if I put the same model in Bamboo Slicer and Creality Slicer, both with default settings, and then I hit slice, it looks like the print is faster on the Creality. And that's actually because they changed some of the deep settings in the acceleration and the speed of both units, and also the walls. So like if you look at those two, that's where the differences are in them.
And I think you pointed that out a couple weeks ago.
I think we talked about it a little bit, but it's a good point to make that, even though even though they're built specifically for the printer, I think that these profiles, and rightly so, are tuned for success, right? I buy a Bamboo printer, I would open it up, I open Bamboo Studio, I hit slice. If that first print doesn't work, I'm all over the internet going, this is the worst printer ever, and I hate why it's doing this, and rabble, right? So, Hal says, easy once you get to know the slice setup, make profiles is a breeze. It really is. It's a little daunting to start with.
I crashed Orca.
Better reopen it. One thing
I was gonna try to bring up two of the same printers and show the difference, but
well, open it up. That big machine here should have no problem.
Yeah, I think it was me clicking too much.
So, we are going to come back to slicers a bit in a few weeks here, maybe another, I don't know, however long it is to get the other pieces in for the other printer, because I want to show how multicolor is handled by both Creality Slicer and then for Bamboo Slicer, and how that all works. So I find most of the videos online are like, so we're going to do our own. So we'll come back to that.
Right.
Okay, here we go. It's not crashing this time.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can choose. All right, where's Creality? Because that might be the best example, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So I'll choose a K1C.
Mm-hmm. Good choice.
And I'll confirm.
He's confirming.
I will go. I will then. Whoops. Come on.
So while you're opening it, Dominic had a comment. Prusa is making it harder to decide between Bamboo and Prusa. And I think Bamboo is doing that too a little bit with some of the changes, because people see some of the changes as like Bamboo as Big Brother trying to like keep them down. I don't see it that way, but the core one, like, yeah, it's going to be a choice, right? It's another premium printer in the market of premium printers. The thing that kills Prusa, I think, especially where we are, is it's not available readily. I have to order it from Prusa and wait, where I can just drive to, Calgary.
I wonder if they changed that, because like if you look at the default for the K1C now, 3 walls on both now. Where was the other setting?
Well, like the Bamboo Lab, if you change it, and the other one was in the speed and acceleration.
Okay, let's go to speed. 60, 105, 100%.
Look at the that uses 50%.
Layer on here.
The bridge.
They have it listed. It's not a listed feature.
It's hidden.
First layer. Do I not have all this stuff turned on?
Don't know. Maybe. And then you can see that acceleration to accel to decel is on the K1C too. So that'll make a difference.
Oh yeah, it's right there. Yeah. It's on Orca.
Yeah, I do too, Ray. He's talking about Creality Slicer versus.
Oh, that's
Bamboo
true.
Slicer.
I don't have the Creality on.
But there is slight differences there, because they do change the wall. Like if you look at the Orca, what walls is it? 3 or 2?
They're both 3.
So then Creality's 2 by default.
Okay, so that'll make a difference.
Yeah, and they've always done that. If you go back in time, if you can build a time machine and find an Ender 3 with that default slice on it, those are 2 walls, because they always tried to make their stuff print faster but still be like, oh wow, that looks really good.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah, and I don't have Creality Slicer, otherwise that would have been more of a fair comparison.
Yeah. So maybe he'll get it and then look at it. Now, one interesting thing though, so like he was in the setting already, and I think I mentioned it too, but like when you hit the little Wi-Fi doohickey beside the Creality printer, like it'll bring up the connection window, and you can see there's a browse button. So like if you were to hit browse on Orca or whatever, like it does the scan, but it's 50-50. So it might, oh no, you close it before I finish. See at the top it says searching for devices ... So there is like a network scan available, but it doesn't overtly find things. Like see done. And then if you were to look in your Bamboo Studio now, you can see on Orca Slicer here, host type is Octo or Clipper, and then over there it says Octo, right? So it's looking and searching for Octoprint ports, which is why it doesn't find anything, right? Because you're in your house though, don't you run Octoprint? Wait, why your audio's gone? What did you do?
I switched to clip. My dog was barking.
It's like, where did it go?
I switched to Clipper everywhere. So
yeah. Okay.
Any Octoprint.
So there's some network scanning. I mean, so like you guys saw when Greg opened that window and then hit browse, the first thing that popped up was the prompt that says, do you want to allow this? So it's asking permission for the program to access key core functions such as firewall control in Windows. So it would have added an exception, and then now it can talk out. So just for those people who are like, oh, I don't want them looking at my stuff, that's what's happening. So no, I think, yeah, so it sounds like we're pretty closely aligned on our viewpoint of slicers, and what's kind of like a faves. Oh,
I am downloading Creality in the background.
oh, I did that last week, but like I did it all live while streaming too. So I'm like, I live dangerously. I want to see if I can crash this thing. Now the Creality Slicer has like, I did the updates and they have been tweaking like the multi-material thing. Now I don't know. I'm gonna ask Ray this question because, well, it's Ray, but like Ray, have you used the CFS yet? Like, I can't remember if there was one sitting on that K2 or not.
I think you guys got a K2 in, didn't you?
They have a K2, but I didn't know if it was like a.
I think they had a K2 in the CMS. I thought, but they didn't have any of the kits for the K1Cs.
No, and those are coming very soon, apparently. Which I am looking forward to. Fun fact: all these work in dark mode, so if you want to be a hipster, you can totally be a hipster.
They don't. Why did these ones default to light? I wonder.
I'm not sure. Orca and Bamboo is almost the same thing. The base is the same. Yeah, and you're right. Like they both, like Orca yoinked Prusa, Prusa yoinked, and then Orca yoinked Bamboo. That's the words I'm trying to say. And it says that in the EULA when you click help about. Oh yeah, that's right. You've been at home. Shoot, dog, I forgot. I'm sorry about that. I'll remember things better.
So here is the how do we, where's the advanced thing?
So like in this one it's that 3 little lines. So like yeah.
Okay.
Ta-da!
Right. Perfect. So now if we go into there and layer heights, they look pretty much the same. So speed is here. So let's go to speed. See, that's one thing I don't like. I don't know why they put this here because it's interfering with the side. It should be on the top, just like the other one. Like, save yourself some programming, maybe.
Yeah, I'm excited for you because like I'm looking forward to the CMS as well. I think it's going to be great.
Okay, so here we go. Infill 60 mil 60, whereas this one's 105 60. That's interesting.
Yeah.
200 350 200 350. That's the same. Oh, here, sparse infill.
Everything's at 500. Yeah.
270 250 250 200. Interesting. Yeah. Okay,
and
acceleration.
Look, and then here's
a big one. Like, look, acceleration 12,000 versus 10,000.
Yep.
555 50. That's the same. 100 that's the same.
And then 12,000
500 versus 1,000. So their first layer is faster.
And then the travel speed is like 2,000 faster in Orca.
Yeah, and Bamboo.
Look at the strength as well. That's the other big change.
The walls. Yes.
I think it's the second button there. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 walls. Or is it? Whereas by default it's like 3.
3,
and then they go 5 and 3 and 25 and 50. So everything else is the same. They just drop the number of walls, that's a significant, that'll make a big difference if you're not printing a whole other wall in a whole print.
100% it will, yeah. Good morning. I don't even know how to say that name, so I'm going to say 15. Good morning, 15. See how easy that is?
It's mightier than the pen.
No. Oh, okay. And you did it. My brain can't make that out right now. It's
mightier than the pen 15.
How
you doing?
So I'll switch back from the screen share here. We'll go back to the big one. Hopefully the audio works here as well as it did on the other page.
There's just a brief kind of summary, but either way, I think if you're not going to go wrong if you use the slicer from the manufacturer, it's going to work fine. But if Orca is a good Swiss Army knife for everything else, kind of thing.
Mm.
And it's kind of supplanted in my my workflow. It's supplanted Prusa. So
yeah, and I mean,
which is fine because it's based on Prusa.
yeah,
because Slick 3R was took over by Prusa, and Prusa became the new development path for Slick 3R, which then everyone then took the open source Prusa and developed Orca and everything else from those. So.
And like I think even this week I had somebody ask like, "Oh, Prusa's having problems installing," and I said, "Why are they using Prusa still? Like, not that Prusa's bad again, but like." The printers like that we deploy are all stuff that's supported very well in Orca and with more depth as well.
Stuff. So I've already I think we solved that by putting Orca as
Hooray, a teller.
But there was another story to talk about, which
the little boat that could.
Yeah, it caused lots of controversy because people were making use of reusing it in other ways other than the license allowed.
We sure did.
And
I broke that license. Yeah.
And you know what? If you're using it not as satire or whatever, it should have been allowed to be used. But they have capitulated to the community. And now...
You still haven't said what you're talking about, though.
The 3D Benchy is now open source.
Now he's talked about it.
So we can now remix the Benchy as much as we like, and we're not violating any copyright, which was silly to begin with. But I do understand they chose their copyright originally so that people wouldn't mess with it, so that when they used the Benchy, they could do their calibrations and do their everything accurately, and no one was messing with a third-party clone of it that wasn't actually accurate to what they had originally designed. So I understand where that came from, and people can still use the 3D Benchy for that. But it's always nice when you can actually, make a Bernie Benchy.
Yeah, and this like at the heart, Benchy first and foremost when it came out was that calibration tool, right? Yeah. So the company I think was called NTI Group, and originally that company did sell 3D printers, and the person who made it while he worked at the company, and then they put that no derives on it, and then that company no longer sold anything to do with 3D printers. They actually forgot about it, right? So, and then when so the interesting part is I don't know if they figured out who made the first claims on it, but somebody was going and making copyright claims for infringement, and so like obviously it was based off the Creative Commons. So then like those models were getting taken down, and then somebody finally complained to the owner, which was this company, and they go, "What's a 3D Benchy?"
Yeah. And so they opened it up, and which is good. So I think now if you want to make a full-size Benchy and customize it so it really floats, you can do that, just like Emily the engineer did.
Yeah, I'm not sure about because did she change the model, or she just blow it up and then make it floatable?
She had to change it, and then enough so that it was stable for her to boat in.
Now this is kind of like the cool thing, or the weird thing, I guess. Benchy became like the most known kind of almost mascot for 3D printers. It's like synonymous.
Yeah.
Totally. Ironically, I don't have any in the house anymore. I used to have buckets and buckets and buckets full, right? Yeah. But like once you find a filament brand you stick with, and then like you kind of know your color settings too, like how the pigments affect black versus white, yellow, red, whatever filaments. Well, you don't print them as much.
Well, and I think with some of the more modern printers like Bamboo or this K1C and whatnot, they're very tuned right out of the box.
Yeah.
And already come with a plethora of really good heat profiles for filaments that they just work. So you don't have to do as many of those to unless you buy some really exotic, weird filament or something from
the
$5 bin on Amazon or something. Then you don't know what you're gonna get. So.
Yeah, and like the thing is, like I remember back when we were like when we got the Thalman filament, like that's expensive stuff. Like the PETT that we had briefly, that we printed the giant red vase out of. Like, you don't want to go to a $70 roll of filament and then not have that calibration. Yeah. But like a $15 spool you bought from Amazon, who cares if something fails? You're gonna figure that out along the way.
There's some really nice, like the torture toaster. There's a few other stuff that
the tower,
that
castle in the air.
There's a number that are a little more, I don't know, tuned, because you with the bench you couldn't really tune tolerances between gears and stuff, right? Will it move? Will it won't? And whatnot. So it's kind of evolved now.
Raymond said he avoided the benchy until last November, and that's impressive.
That is impressive.
I think here's another question for everybody in the chat, because probably most of us have printed benchies, maybe not Raymond. Who's measured the benchy? Who's actually taken calipers out and measured all the gaps, right?
I'm a
nerd, except Greg the nerd.
My calipers are never far away.
Yeah, mine are sitting right here too. I have 3 sets in different rooms where I occupy, but like the thing, like not many people printed benchy for benchy, and you're right. Like the torture toaster, there's a few other ones like you said, but like there's a physical like tolerance on those toasters and stuff, so your printer's calibrated when you can move the toast and that kind of stuff, right?
Well, originally when we, when let's say we got our very first printer.
Okay.
You were printing knickknacks and stuff just to see what it can do and whatnot, and learn it a bit and whatnot. But you may not have been printing like, mechanical parts. Like I've got my rack and pinion here that I've designed and whatnot. Well, when I first was printing, I probably couldn't even get a good fit for that, or even design the gear. And now I've kind of evolved into that. So, it's one of those things.
So I just learned something interesting and new that's pertinent.
All right.
Because I read things. So Snapmaker? The company Snapmaker?
I'm not a big fan, but yes.
You better be, because they're actually using Orca Slicer. They have a build called Snapmaker Orca.
Yeah, but that doesn't make me a fan, because they tried to do 12 things in one.
Oh, I know. I'm not a fan of that part. The thing that's interesting about this news, however, is this is probably one of the first machines or companies that have like put stock in to Orca, right?
But I mean, that's good. Like I think if we can support,
I don't know what kind of money or kickback, or if any, but like. Kira exists because of Ultimaker. Prusa exists because of Prusa, right? Bamboo Studios is Bamboo Lab, right? So Orca's been on
Slicer exists because of Prusa.
Mm-hmm.
Orca exists because of Prusa.
I'm just saying, like, they're not on an island on their own anymore. It's
true. It's true.
It's not a backer per se, but they have used Creality used Kira for years and just put Creality Slicer on.
And there's been attempts to remember that other companies have tried to start up slicers. Remember, what was the one from E3D that they were trying to get?
Oh, remember? Yeah, I was in the beta for that.
Yeah, me too. And it was what was cool about that is
Pathio.
Yes, that's what it was. And then when you threw a benchy in, you could actually see the missing layer in the benchy.
Yes.
that causes the flaw and whatnot. It was actually kind of cool.
I
And then they
often
tried
wonder if
to
that's on
sell
purpose, right? Yeah.
They and no one wanted it because which is unfortunate. But
It's one of those it's one of those things where like there's a lot of slicers out there. That's what I want to say.
there are.
And like there already is a paid slicer. And that's what Pathio is going to be too, right? It was only free until the beta was over and they wouldn't tell anybody how much it was gonna cost. But like if I wanted to go buy a slicer, I would go buy Simplified 3D. Right? Now, I'm not saying go hey, no, don't go buy Simplified. Don't do it.
Here's the thing. There's still a lot of big companies and stuff that do use Simplify. So,
well, yeah, and there is use for it.
Yep.
It's just and they do have like base clipper support in it now, so like it is viable.
Well,
but
and some of the process, because it's process based, right, rather than object based.
Well, the thing is like Orca Slicer, Prusa Slicer, like all of those forks from Prusa on, like you can do processes in them. You could do processes in the new version of Kira.
Yeah, so and you can switch your view to do the processes and whatnot, which is nice. So they've adopted loosely some of the things from it. So yeah.
And I mean, like you look at companies too that are like trying to take those slicers and printers and like give you like print farm capability. That's a whole other ball of worms. But well, ball of worms is weird. Ball of wax.
I know. I think more and more people are gonna come out with print farm products. Like I think that's the next thing on Bamboo's list is to really formally develop either a partnership with some company or they're going to do it on their own. So where you can run your whole company from Bamboo and maybe they'll have some sort of subscription model for the farm piece, which makes sense.
Yeah.
If they're hosting it or something, but
there's a print farm management software called SimplyPrint that's already, you can use it with like Bamboo. But like again, we just found out about like that they're dropping like some of those open source, like or not open source, but over the air open protocols, and in favor for their in-house version. Honestly, that's the way to go, and then they can give manufacturers like access to that. API access and that kind of access are always better when it comes to security. But like if you're worried about your Bamboo lab printer on your network not being secure and you're like, hey Google, can you turn off the light in the room, and you're worried about your printer, you're worrying about the wrong things.
That's true. Like
what in your opinion do Clipper deliver in the end or so? So here's the thing. Clipper and Octoprint are two very very sorry, let's start with the question. What in your opinion do Clipper deliver and then the result that Octoprint doesn't or misses? So like Clipper and Octoprint are different in the fact that Clipper is a firmware.
Yeah, and totally different kind of implementation theory and design. Like it's quite a bit different.
Like from when you look at like just the web connection and interface and stuff, I think they're similar. I think Clipper still actually gives you more, like the web interface of Clipper gives you more options just because it is the firmware engine.
Fluid and Mainsail are the interface, right?
Well,
they're
exactly.
Not even Clipper, right?
No, but without them, you wouldn't be able to use your printer, and that's the biggest difference. Without an interface, you can't use a Clipper printer.
I'm gonna go as far as to say that because they use the API, like David was talking about, they use Moonraker as the communication backend, and they're not using serial communication directly and whatnot. They are more efficient in how they talk to the printer because of the way they communicate. Like they're not. Whereas there's no direct API for I'm blanking.
I don't know what you're talking about.
On Octoprint, there's no direct API access. So
Yes,
you
there
run
is.
Octoprint, and then it uses the serial communication directly to the printer.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Mainsail, it has its own server. It's all nice, independent running, and runs very well on the Pi.
Yep.
And it uses Moonraker as your communication interface between the board and the whichever web interface you're running. So the efficiency is a better on the Clipper side, in my opinion, but they both work really well. It really depends what you're doing. If you're not willing to reflash your printer and you all the time and whatnot, and you're going to stay with Marlin, Octoprint is probably the best choice.
It's also like the
web management.
Octoprint has support for not just Marlin, but Repeater and a couple others.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas, the Mainsail and Fluid, wow, talk good. But Octoprint can also front end Clipper as well. You can use the REST API in Octoprint. They've developed it out pretty well. Now, the question I think that I like the last question in the string there is the result better? I think Clipper prints are more successful. However, that's because a lot of Clipper printers are nerded right out. They'll have accelerometers, they have all the neat little load cells and toys and like leveling, and like it's easier to implement all the things that give you more success in printing with Clipper. So
you've got a more broad feature set available in Clipper than you do in Marlin. Some of the
public facing, right? Too. Right. Like you don't have to like reflash your firmware like every time, right? So
you can just edit a text file, and you can turn features on and off, make your drivers go backwards or forwards. You can do everything super quick. So without
that's a good point. The backwards and forward.
No, it is like you know when you if you are doing something and you change like your stepper driver from a 4988 or maybe who knows what the next version will be, or 2900 versus
let's make up a version. It's going to be 3590s.
It might go in the opposite direction, which is what happened when you went from the 4988 to the 29 series, right? It flipped the direction. So you would have to, number one, you should have recompiled your firmware in the first place for the new drivers, but you could quickly change it just by changing a statement in this text file and you're good to go. There's no recompiling needed because all you have is the base communication with all of the pins on the board is what the firmware does for Clipper. It basically you've chosen your board, you know what processor is on your board, and it knows how many pins are there, and it's communicating through, and everything else is done on the INI file. So you don't have to recompile anything because you don't really need to change it unless there's some major flaw in the firmware, or some bug in the initial pin configuration or something that you would have to update. There's no reason to change the firmware side of it because it's so basic, right? Which is the beauty of it.
It's I think the hardest concept when it comes to like Clipper versus Marlin is using the KISS, keep it simple stupid, because from one aspect you have Marlin, like when it's installed, it is simple. There's not so many changes. However, to compile it, to edit it, to make it work, that is not simple. Whereas Clipper,
It's gotten better, but you do have to wrap your head around it, which is not great for beginners.
and Clipper, like a base config for Clipper, is very, very manageable. Like it's probably under 100 lines of actual things in that text file. Like just for like, I want my printer to run. And then from there you can get more and more complicated. Add sensors.
And
right?
if you screw up, it's really good at telling you that, hey, there's an error at this.
Yeah.
You know, and then you can go look at it and go, oh yeah, I forgot a semicolon or whatever.
Yeah.
Or I put an
just
exclamation mark which reversed it. Oh
yeah.
okay.
Well, like, and so there's sanity checking in Marlin too, but like, it's very
That's
much.
only when you're compiling.
That's just it, and it doesn't tell you if it's going to work as you intend. Whereas some of the Clipper errors are like, I don't think you actually want your printer to do that, but
Yeah,
if you want to, I'll let you save it.
You have this feature on, you probably don't want this feature on. So.
But like, yeah, like just from a sheer running a 3D printer, I think that Clipper probably will outdo Marlin at the moment.
If you want to run your printer independently with SneakerNet and an SD card, Marlin's probably your go-to.
Well, it would be your only go-to,
right?
Because
you know you don't have to outlay anything extra for a Pi.
Yep.
Like a lot of printers now come with Clipper built in, so they basically have a built-in Pi emulating type device built into the board now.
Yeah, little ARM processor or something.
You look at Big Tree Tech; they have their Manta boards, which you can put basically a Pi on the board. It's built in. So your complexity hasn't just gone on from 8-bit to 32-bit. Now you've got a full-on processor and a controller.
Yeah.
So you have it is more. There's more stuff to it, so the boards are maybe a little more expensive and whatnot. But I think the overall results, functionality, and ease of use once it's set up, is great. And you just copy that printer config file, back it up, and blow it away. Copy the printer config file back. You're up and running. There's no recompiling.
Yeah, like the backup, like and they even support with like add-ons to do like backups to cloud drives too, so like you don't have to worry about it. It's just always backed up.
And thanks Ray. Ray said like, share, subscribe.
I put it on the screen. So there's the subscribe, so you should do that. And then in the middle, you guys are awesome. If you're on Patreon, if you're not, you can check us out, patreon.com/3dmakeit. Lots of fun things, Discord servers. We're going to rework the Discord and stuff in a bit. And then if you want our other links, it's just 3dmakeit.ca, which, I don't know, we'll probably change one day. I think it still has the Christmas contest.
I got it. Oh, and I gotta reach out to a certain someone to send out the gift certificates again, because
it still has the Christmas contest. So but like, thanks for hanging out. We're gonna be talking, like I said, in the next few weeks about the CFS and the AMS, and like a deep comparison thoughts between those printers, which might actually spawn regular videos for once. I think the compile the PC is fixing anyways, but to your point, like the thing is like you can have a compile procedure based language like C, and then like that's your compile base, and that's why you have to change it every time, because it is compiled, right? It goes, I've already made this file, and now this is where it lives, and that's it. Whereas Clipper, like, it still is compiled, right?
I have auto update on in the background, so my main sale, like my Clipper and all the stuff on the Pi, stays up to date and stays relevant. And my printer config, I don't have to recompile it every time, because it's just telling it where my pins are that it's going to communicate with.
Ray. He's like, I'm gonna have a CMS, but okay. Take pictures and show. Box turtle. Maybe. Here's the thing, like, it is cool.
So the box turtle, which Dominic's referring to, is a CMS type device. Am I wrong? That's the one he's
yeah,
to,
it is.
right?
I have like it's a buildable one.
Yes, and it looks like it's a little more similar to all of it's kind of interesting how we went from the carrot feeder and all this to everyone going similar to what Bamboo did with the CMS or the AMS, right? Now we got the CMS, we've got all these other companies coming out with them, and now someone has basically rebuilt it themselves, right?
So here's the carrot. This would be as akin to the angry carrot feeder for the Clipper project, but this is what it looks like. This is like the LDO kit. I don't really know who Fabrico is, but it looks like it's about $400 American for the kit, which I think is actually more expensive than the
source.
It is, yeah.
By Armored Turtle, Robert Klotz.
But like the source kit, I should say, is more expensive. Although it might have converted that because it says $299 US, like on the front Google page. So I think it converted it right into our dollars. That's right. It's $200 more just because we live in a great country.
So it's kind of interesting.
Maybe
looks like they have a circuit board and whatnot. I mean that's neat.
I'd be interested to see how maybe it could function with like the firmware unlocked on a K1C. Like I do have the SX4 and stuff that it could work on too. Maybe that might be a project in the future. Filament management is better. I will have to do some research on it. I knew of its existence, but I haven't actually looked into it much. So maybe we'll take a peek at it. But like I haven't had a filament break in the AMS in a long time, so that's good. That's other than that, it just works.
I've only ever had one break, and so I tried to unload filament when I'm not printing for a long period so that it doesn't break within there, because it is a pain in the ass. They should have had a bottom panel that could come off. Rather than whereas if you look at the turtle, the bottom panel is open.
It's true.
And you look at the Creality, the bottom panel's open.
And like Hal's is right, and we've talked about this before. Like projects like that are cool, and they are for the tinkerers, but like if your time is better spent like designing, prototyping, or just like straight up like knick-knacking on your printer, and that's what you love, then the Bamboo Lab or a CFS like already exist for that. And
it's for Clipper, like it's designed for Clipper, is it not?
Yeah, it's for Clipper.
It's not a Marlin compatible.
Nope. It's Clipper. So we were taught. Sorry, I didn't quite finish the Clipper versus Marlin. I just wanted to circle back to the languages like I was talking about. So we talked about C and how it's procedural, and then Clipper's based off of Python, which is interpreted, which means it's at launch as it's reading that file, that firmware, that config. So that's why Clipper can be more agile, is the actual base language.
Good point. Yeah.
So sorry, I was like making it and then squirrel.
It's okay. Sorry about the hiccup at the beginning, guys. I'm glad that we have audio and you guys could hear us through our rantiness throughout the whole show. And next Sunday, I will be around. And then I got to run up to Calgary right after the show. So,
he's a Calgary goer.
Oh man, my son's flying back to Vancouver. He flew in yesterday, and then it flies out next week. So
that'll happen. All right, gentlemen and viewers and ladies and gentlemen and humans, we sure appreciate y'all. So thanks for watching and take care of yourselves. Have a good week.
bye.